Productivity laptops. Now you may have seen the odd YouTube video about someone saying that getting something like an old ThinkPad made them a more productive person, which is pretty interesting to me as someone who likes old laptops a little bit too much. Now productivity laptops are laptops that lock you into whatever task you want to do by one, having all of the software that you need to do the task while also having no internet, and two, despite their slow processor, allow you to get a lot of your work done in such a small amount of time because of less distractions. Now this laptop right here I would consider to be a productivity laptop, but why is it so old? The thing about older and more high-end laptops versus newer and low-end laptops is the fact that these kinds of old laptops were built to be good and have better build quality. Newer and cheaper laptops like this one have worse build quality and were meant to be disposable after a couple of years, so they aren't as nice to use. A piece of plastic just fell on it. In my personal opinion, if what I plan to do is already perfectly optimized to run on the older, slower, more well-built laptop, I would rather use that than this newer and cheap one because performance wouldn't be an issue on either. So might as well use the one that has better build quality. So now I'm going to show you the productivity laptops that I have personally owned throughout the past year or so. The first laptop that I got was an HP EliteBook 6930p from the thrift store early last year. It had a Core 2 Duo P8600, 4GB of DDR2 RAM, a 240GB SSD that I put in it, and a very terrible battery. Around late June, I decided to put Windows Vista onto the laptop, which isn't as bad as you might think, and I decided to begin trying to make music on it using FL Studio 8.0. And not too long before that, I've started to use FL Studio in general, but then I just wanted to try out the older version on Windows Vista, just because I just find it kind of interesting. And with that setup, I began making a couple of my own songs, and spent a good quantity of all-nighters making them. I've also done my fair share of experimentation with doing video editing on that laptop. Here's a clip of a video I made on it.
Andrew!
Just breaking some cookies.
Where do I go now? Oh, hi! Where's my hug?
You were supposed to come like when I was done. Now I filmed that video on this camcorder all in standard definition, and it actually handled those video clips super well. Now what made it so good? Well, the first thing is that it was a business laptop with very good build quality. It was built to last and it was built to be durable. When I used the laptop, it felt like I was using something that was a proper tool to get proper work done. The hinge was tight, the bezels were sort of thick, the keyboard had really nice travel, and the touchpad was small but still a pretty decent size, and it was precise and responsive, and the trackpad buttons themselves weren't worn down, so it wasn't super painful to use. And I made a few videos on the laptop needing only the trackpad because the trackpad on that laptop is just that good. The battery sucked, so it wasn't brought anywhere without its charger, but the option was always there to put a better battery in it. I no longer have the HP EliteBook 6930p. Near the beginning of 2026 I sold it, and so I no longer have it. Now the next laptop I still have, and it's a very similar one. This right here is the HP EliteBook 8440p, which is very similar to the 6930p except it's a generation newer, and this is more of a higher end model. And I don't really like this laptop as much as I like the 6930p for a couple of main reasons. The first reason I don't like this laptop is because it has a super slow and inefficient NVIDIA NVS 3100M graphics chip in it, which is barely faster than the Arendelle iGPU that already came with the CPU. Even if you have an Intel CPU that has an iGPU, it won't let you use the iGPU if you have a dedicated graphics card. And the GPU in this thing was basically just a GT210, and the one in here is actually slightly better because it had slightly faster VRAM, but it's still super slow. And every single battery that I've tried to put in this laptop, even the super big high capacity ones, have always sucked and never lasted long enough. Every upgrade I did to this laptop would always be the most disappointing thing ever. The second reason is that it just feels worse to use than the 6930p. The keyboard is very nice and clicky. I like this keyboard more. But the main pain point I have with this laptop are these buttons here. These buttons aren't worn down, but these ones at the bottom are. It's not satisfying to press at all. most mushy thing ever. There's no tactility. This one, there is still a little bit of tactility, but this one, it's all gone. And the third small pain point that I have with this laptop is the higher resolution 1600 by 900 display. Now, you may think it's a good thing, and well, it is a good thing to have a higher resolution display. But with older software that was meant for displays that had a lower pixel density, every element that would show up on the display was just a bit too small, and I found myself squinting my eyes to try to see what's on the display. Now, the optimal screen resolution for me, in my opinion, is in between 95 and 115 pixels per inch. And this display is way over that, clocking it around 130 pixels per inch, which ironically made the lower resolution display more comfortable to use. Now, I still have this laptop and it still has the quad-core CPU in it, but I don't really use it anymore because I just got its replacement. And I'm going to be making a video about this laptop very, very soon. The next laptop I'm going to be talking about is the Dell Inspiron B120. Now, I've had this laptop for the longest time, ever since mid-2018 when I got it from Value Village for 20 bucks. And I've always wanted to do crazy stuff on it the entire time I've owned it. So I ended up making a few videos on it, and a couple of them are on this YouTube channel. And for each video that I made on this laptop, I would increase the editing quality each time just to see how far I could push it. And fun fact, if you've been around this channel for a while, you may recognize this video. And the first couple of minutes were actually edited on the B120 laptop. But I switched the project over to this 1501 because of issues that the B120 started having. This was the laptop that made me slowly realize that this and many other laptops similar to this are capable of HD video editing and a whole lot more. And another reason why I liked using it was because, along with being the laptop that I've had for the longest time, for like 7 or 8 years, I also like to use it because it was the slowest and crappiest laptop that I owned at the time, and it looked like absolute crap because of its extremely thick display bezels, but it still had a pretty decent trackpad and a keyboard, so it was still pretty usable by itself. I did start having some issues with the trackpad buttons where the left click wouldn't click properly, so I just got rid of it. Now, the next laptop is this, which is a Dell Inspiron 1501, and it has been my most recent productivity laptop that I used to edit 7 of the more recent videos on this channel. And I like this laptop a lot because of its design and its build quality. It has a nice trackpad that is accurate and precise and still a pretty decent size for what it is, and the buttons have my most favorite trackpad button design, and they are the most satisfying buttons to click. One just goes down in a way that I like, and with pretty long travel. A lot of the videos that I made on this laptop were made with only this trackpad. The keyboard, on the other hand, was okay, but the pressure needed to press down the keys is a bit too much for my liking. The display is a larger 15.4 inch size with the same 1280 by 800 resolution as the B120 and the 6930p, and it is a very nice resolution that is pretty easy on the eyes at this size and well within that pixel density sweet spot that I talked about earlier. You can fit a good amount of content on the display while also having it be big enough to read everything. The laptop is also very large and super heavy, and it has felt sort of like a real tool and not like a toy. I have taken apart this laptop multiple times and put it all back together, and it still worked fine. But my experience with this laptop is not perfect, as it freezes sometimes, even though it has an SSD with a 64-bit version of Windows 7. It also has the AMD Athlon 64X2 processor in here, which is much slower than the equivalent Core True Duo at the same clock speed.
This is great. Come on.
Oh, look, it crashed.
This computer during the render has crashed multiple times. Just do it, get it over with.
Render now. Now you have to render it all over again. Are you proud of yourself? It's starting to show its age a little bit. But I made it work somehow, and I made multiple videos on this channel with only that laptop. So yeah, this has been a pretty good laptop, but I've recently been looking for laptops that would replace this thing because I just want something that's a little bit faster. So the final laptop that I'm going to be talking about that will replace this laptop most likely is going to be this laptop right here. This is a Dell Latitude D620. I used to have one of these laptops as a kid, and it was given to me by my uncle, but one day I just decided to destroy it. Dell Latitude D620, I think this used to be. I can't believe it. I forgot how much I actually destroyed this. I just recently found another one at Value Village, and I've just been wanting to have another D620, as I've also been seeing people mention this exact laptop as being a super reliable laptop, and so far I agree. Looking at the design, it does have a super nice keyboard to type on with good travel, and it feels pretty solid. This entire script was written on this laptop. And the trackpad buttons also do have a fair amount of travel to them, much like the Dell Inspiron 1501. Doesn't feel the same, but it's still relatively satisfying. Because the trackpad buttons aren't on a hinge like the older HP EliteBook is. The trackpad on this laptop is a little bit weird though. For some reason, Dell decided to put an Alps trackpad in this thing rather than the Synaptics touchpad that's in all the other Dell laptops I've talked about in this video. And it just isn't as good, but I can get used to it. It also has a 1280 by 800 display at 14 inches, which puts this at a pixel density of around 107 pixels per inch, which is higher than the Dell Inspiron, but still super readable. There is a small issue with the display though. For some reason, the display is a little bit more yellow than what I'm used to seeing. I think that's a pretty common thing with this laptop, seeing as the D620 I had as a kid also had a weirdly yellow shifted display similar to what this has. And the one that I used to have actually looked the exact same as this. And that was like 7 to 9 years ago. So I wouldn't be surprised if these laptops were actually shipped with these already yellow tinted displays. The battery that came with this laptop is also a lot better, and it does last a pretty good amount of time. It is originally a 56 watt hour battery, but it only has around 60% health. So right now it is only a 35 watt hour battery, which isn't great, but it is good enough for a long session on the couch. And it could last anywhere in between 1.5 hours up to 2.5 hours depending on what I do on the laptop. You see right here that it says 2 hours and 3 minutes remaining. And this can also be upgraded to a 9-cell battery and lasts like 3 times longer than that. When I got it, I ended up using the hard drive that it came with, put 2.5 gigabytes of RAM in it, and installed Windows XP, and got Sony Vegas on it, and it works extremely well. It actually surprised me how well MPEG-2 clips run on this laptop, even being undervolted and underclocked to just 1 gigahertz. This is a 1440p source clip in preview half. 1440p, look, see that? 1440p.
Throughout the entire week, I have to use the.
It's playing back smoothly. What the?
This drive.
It's butter. Yes, 1440p MPEG-2 clips actually play back relatively smoothly on this, and there is a big chance that this entire video has been edited on this Dell Latitude D620. So yeah, that is my history of productivity laptops that I've used over the past couple of years. I hope you got to learn about what elements make an old laptop worth getting, either if you would like something similar or want some insight on why people still use these laptops. Yes, I'm still very much on the lookout for the perfect productivity laptop. Maybe I should just sell every single one of these laptops and just get like a ThinkPad T61 and upgrade it to the highest that it can go and just use that until it dies. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you loved it, please subscribe, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Bye!